Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and today we'll be reading another piece from A Testament of Hope, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Today's piece we shall be reading is Our God is Marching On, and the blurb below it reads, Like Jonah in the belly of the whale, Dr. King spoke triumphantly before the state capitol building in Montgomery, often called the cradle of the Confederacy. He defended the march from Selma's bloody Edmund Pettis Bridge to the state capitol. The march finally began in earnest on the 21st of March and ended with this speech on the 25th of March, 1965. My dear and abiding friends, Ralph Abernathy, and to all the other distinguished Americans seated here on the rostrum, my friends and co-workers of the state of Alabama, and all of the freedom-loving people who have assembled here this afternoon from all over our nation and from all over the world. Last Saturday, more than 8,000 of us started on a mighty walk from Selma, Alabama. We have walked on meandering highways and rested our bodies by rocky byways. Some of our faces are burned and from the outpourings of the sweltering sun. Some have literally slept in the mud. We have been drenched by the rains. Our bodies are tired and our feet are somewhat sore. But today, as I stand before you and think back over the great march, I can say, as Sister Pollard said, a 70-year-old Negro woman who lived in this community during the bus boycott, and one day she was asked while walking if she wanted to ride, and when she answered no, the person said, "Well, aren't you tired?" And with her ungrammatical unfundity or profundity, she said, "My feet is tired, but my soul is rested." And in a real sense, this afternoon, we can say that our feet are tired, but our souls are rested. We are here. They told us we wouldn't get here. And there are those who said that we would get here only over their dead bodies. But all the world today knows that we are here and we are standing before the forces of power in the state of Alabama saying, we ain't going to let nobody turn us around. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 gave Negroes some part of their rightful dignity. But without the vote, it was dignity without strength. Once more, the method of nonviolent resistance was unsheathed from its scabbard. And once again, the entire community was mobilized to confront the adversary. And again, the brutality of a dying order shrieks from across the land. Yet Selma, Alabama became a shining moment in the conscience of man. There never was a moment in American history more honorable or more inspiring than the pilgrimage of clergymen and laymen of every race and faith pouring into Selma to face danger at the side of its embattled Negroes. Confrontation of good and evil compressed in the tiny community of Selma generated the massive power to turn the whole nation to a new course. A president born in the South had the sensitivity to feel the will of the country, and in an address that will leave in history as one of the most passionate pleas for human rights ever made by a president of our nation, he pledged the might of the federal government to cast off the centuries old blight. President Johnson rightly praised the courage of the Negro for awakening the conscience of the nation. In our part, on our part, we must pay profound respects to the white Americans who cherish their democratic traditions over the ugly customs and privileges of generations and come forth boldly to join hands with us. From Montgomery to Birmingham, from Birmingham to Selma, from Selma back to Montgomery. A trail wound in a circle and often bloody. Yet it has become a highway up from the darkness. Alabama has tried to nurture and defend evil, but the evil is choking to death in the dusty roads and streets of this state. So I stand before you on this afternoon with the conviction that segregation is on its deathbed in Alabama, and the only thing uncertain about it is how costly the segregationists and Wallace will make the funeral. Our whole campaign in Alabama has been centered around the right to vote, in focusing the attention of the nation and the world today on the flagrant denial of the right to vote. We are exposing the very origin of the root cause of racial segregation in the Southland. The threat of the free exercise of the ballot by the Negro and the white masses alike resulted in the establishing of a segregated society. They segregated Southern money from the poor whites. They segregated Southern mores from the rich whites. They segregated Southern churches from Christianity. They segregated Southern minds from honest thinking. And they segregated the Negro from everything. We have come a long way since that travesty of justice was perpetrated upon the American mind. Today I want to tell the city of Selma. Today I want to say to the state of Alabama. Today I want to say to the people of America and the nations of the world. We are not about to turn around. We are on the move now. Yes, we are on the move, and no wave of racism can stop us. We are on the move. We are on the move now. The burning of our churches will not deter us. We are on the move now. The bombing of our homes will not dissuade us. We are on the move now. The beating and killing of our clergymen and young people will not divert us. We are on the move now. The arrest and release of known murderers will not discourage us. We are on the move now. Like an idea whose time has come, not even the marching of mighty armies can halt us. We are moving to the land of freedom. Let us therefore continue our triumph and march to the realization of the American dream. Let us march on segregation housing until every ghetto of social and economic depression dissolves and Negroes and whites live side by side in decent, safe, and sanitary housing. Let us march on segregated schools until every vestige of segregated and inferior education becomes a thing of the past and Negroes and whites study side by side in the socially healing context of the classroom. Let us march on poverty until no American parent has to skip a meal so that their children may march on poverty. Until no starved man walks the streets of our cities and downtowns in search of jobs that do not exist. Let us march on ballot boxes. March on ballot boxes until race baiters disappear from the political arena. Let us march on ballot boxes until the Wallace of our nation tremble away with silence. Let us march on ballot boxes until we send to our city councils, state legislatures, and the United States Congress men who will not fear to do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with their God. Let us march on the ballot boxes until all over Alabama God's children will be able to walk the earth in decency and honor. For all of us today, the battle is in our hands. The roads is not altogether a smooth one. There are no broad highways to lead us easily and inevitably to quick solutions. We must keep going. My people, listen. My people, listen. The battle is in our hands. The battle is in our hands in Mississippi and Alabama and all over the United States. So as we go away this afternoon, let us go away more than ever before, committed to the struggle and committed to nonviolence. I must admit to you there are still some difficulties ahead. We are still in for a season of suffering in many of the Black Belt counties of Alabama, many areas of Mississippi, many areas of Louisiana. I must admit to you there are still jail cells waiting for us, dark and difficult moments. We will go on with the faith that nonviolence and its power transform dark yesterdays into bright tomorrows. We will be able to change all of these conditions. Our aim must never be to defeat or humiliate the white man, but to win his friendship and understanding. We must come to see that the end we seek in a society is at peace with itself, a society that can live with its conscience, that will be a day not of the white man, not of the black man. That will be a day of man as man. I know you're asking today, How long will it take? I come to say to you this afternoon, however difficult the moment, however frustrating the hour, it will not be long, because truth pressed to earth will rise again. How long? Not long, because no lie can live forever. How long? Not long, because you still reap what you sow. How long? Not long, because the arm of the moral universe is long and it bends toward justice. How long? Not long, cause mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord, trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He has loosed the fateful lightning of his terrible, swift sword. His truth is marching on. He has sounded forth the trumpets that shall never call retreat. He is lifting up the hearts of man before his judgment seat. Oh, be swift, my soul, to answer him. Be jubilant, my feet. Our God is marching on. This was an unpublished transcription of a recording of this speech provided by Richard Newman, a noted historian of African American religion and an archivist at the New York Public Library. So, this is a speech he gives after their great march across Alabama. It's right at the very end of it as they've completed the march. And Dr. King once again points out, we will not stop until all men are equal, socially, economically. And again, you see Dr. King talking about economic equality. A lot of things people don't like to talk about today when it comes to Dr. King, but he would have been right there with a lot of people attacking the rich for their greed. He wouldn't have been physically attacking them, but he would have been attacking the evils of their greed. But yeah, he's pointing out, he thanks President Johnson for the Civil Rights Act, but they still need that right to vote. You know, we still need equality socially. We need man as man, not white man, not black man, but man. But yeah, short little speech by Dr. King. It's a pretty good one. But as always, educate thyself, think, read, study, learn. Someone tries to tell you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll see you all in the next video. But until then, later.